Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here today for a live edition of the podcast in honor of March Madness. I'm here joined by producer Josh Northcutt, co-host Alex Perez, and director Garrett Jordan. We have a lot to get to in a little amount of time. So is there anything you want to get him? St. Francis is currently up on Alabama State in the first game of the tourney, going into halftime by about 5. But is there anything you guys want to get out, just looking overall on this bracket, anything that stands out, anything that you felt was held back? What do you got?
As we all know, North Carolina probably should not have got in, but that's my only real comment.
Josh, we'll give you time to discuss North Carolina here pretty soon. So
besides that, I feel like as an SEC homer, it is my duty to also say a couple of those teams should not have got in.
I appreciate
especially
that.
seeded at the seed that they are, but we'll get into all that.
Josh?
The seeding is where I see a lot of the issues. I will admit, I don't think 14 teams from one conference should ever get in. I didn't
Much
know
less
this
with
was
6 and 12 in that conference.
the SEC Invitational that it could become. But like we talked about, the hope is hopefully some of these teams fall, and then it's maybe a wake-up call that we don't buy all into that craziness. But it was the best conference. We watched all the basketball this weekend. The games were electric no matter which one it was outside. Maybe
Absolutely.
one Florida, was it
Florida, Bama, that
Yeah.
second half. The first half was electric, for
Correct.
sure. That second half, Florida went away. One thing I didn't really notice when I was there live was that Grant Nelson was out that second half.
That
So-
I
that
didn't
could do
notice
it.
that either.
Yeah, so that'll do it. And there's some questions about his health that we'll get into when we talk about their tournament outlook. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's actually something that apparently he experienced last year before the tourney, which is weird. But if there's nothing else, Garrett's just happy that Grand Canyon's in there. I'm excited to see how far.
I'm just happy to be here, folks.
Yeah. So get ready for some analysis from us, and then Garrett just to essentially give his answer, and then we make fun of it. So it'll be
I am part
a
of the
lot
general
fun.
population here. I'm on your guys' side, okay?
Absolutely. So are we ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go right ahead and start with the number 1 seed. Go ahead and grab those pins, boys. Auburn versus Alabama State and St. Francis. Now, if Alabama... No, I'm just kidding. Give me Auburn to win this first game here pretty handedly. My computer's about to die, so if any of you guys want to talk and lead us into this next game.
So we're all not talking about that. We're just skipping games down the list. How are we doing this?
Oh, yeah, next one is Louisville and Creighton.
Okay, yeah.
We planned really well, guys.
Okay, well, yeah. So for Louisville, Creighton, in my opinion,
Oh, I know what you mean now. Yeah. So before we get into the full bracket, my fault, guys. We did plan this. I just didn't follow through with the plan. What are some games? What is the first round game that you're looking forward to most, and then what's the potential matchup that you want to see the most?
all right. Well, obviously the one I want to see the most is Ole Miss, North Carolina. No explanation
There's no bias
needed.
there.
No. There's no bias on the show anymore. Remember?
Yes.
What about you, Alex?
The matchup I want to see out of the South is Auburn-Louisville. Louisville, I feel like, is very mad about their seeding, and I feel like Auburn may be the 1 seed that's most at the vulnerable risk.
I was gonna say it was disrespectful what they did to Louisville.
Yeah.
They gave them a home game basically. They're in Lexington, which means that fan base, as you know from being down in that area, is going to travel that hour and a half, and it's
For
going
sure.
to be full of red.
It's going to be so weird.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I hope it's a blue court just to throw everybody off.
it better be.
But no, that fact that they're the 8th seed, everybody else in the top 10 is either a 1, a 2, or a 3, and then they got the 8. So I get the ACC was down, but to get second place in the ACC in regular season and in the tournament, they deserved at least a 4 or 5. Absolutely
sure.
They
disrespectful.
were top 10 ranked in the AP poll, and I know
Correct.
that's not like you have to follow that for the rankings, but that's better than an 8 seed. They got there for reasons because they were second in the ACC, like you said, and was there in there with Duke until Duke pulled away. So I agree. Louisville is definitely slighted by this matchup. It is an interesting matchup, but my initial reaction was Louisville in Lexington to take that. and that will continue to be my reaction. But my game I'm most looking forward to in the first round is that game, Louisville versus Creighton. But if I'm looking forward to a potential matchup, it's the one and the two, Auburn versus Michigan State. I think it's a fun game between two Final Four teams. That very well could be possible looking at these paths, but just as easily could not happen with the way Auburn's been playing recently and Michigan State's style of ball. So I already have given away my Louisville pick. So what do you guys have in the Louisville-Creighton game?
I've got Creighton winning, surprisingly, even with the home court advantage that I believe Louisville's going to have. I just think Creighton's the better team, and they got the better player in Kalkbrenner.
Yeah, this is the game I'm most excited for in this region, and it's the one that kicks us off, so that's awesome. But Chucky Hepburn is the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. I think he'll make an impact on both sides, and I got Louisville in this one.
Garrett.
Gary.
I as well have Louisville in this one, guys.
right.
I do. I don't have like a super detailed reason. I just feel like, like you said, Louisville probably feels like they've been slighted by where they've been seated. I mean, just have a team be that successful despite losing so much at the beginning of the season. It just feels like this team is going to be a team that's going to play for their coach in the tournament, down to the wire, down to the very end. So I have Louisville.
Absolutely. Moving down the list, I have my first upset of the list, and that is UC San Diego over Michigan. No reason behind that. No, there is, and it's that Michigan has been one of the ugliest teams in terms of turnovers, and UC San Diego has the first in the nation turnover margin, and I think they will abuse that against a Michigan team without really a point guard, a true point guard to handle the ball, and I think they will take advantage of it. And they're a team that the right thing falls in the next game down the list, they could end up in the Sweet 16.
For me, I'm taking Michigan. Again, no bias. Don't even try to pull that. I'm not a Michigan basketball fan. But what it is, I think they ride on the momentum of the Big Ten tournament. I know I usually don't like taking the champions, and I've mentioned that before, but I think Elisa gets them through the first round, and I feel UC San Diego is almost a little bit too popular of an upset pick.
I would agree with that. I'm going with Michigan too. Coaching, as I've talked about many times, is one of the biggest things that is the difference in this tournament, and Michigan has a great coach. Not to say UC San Diego doesn't, but I just think Michigan's is a little better. Plus, UC San Diego is a little undersized, while Michigan kind of runs through 2 7-footers. So I think that'll be a big difference and may get UC San Diego in some foul trouble early.
That's fair. Garrett, what do you got?
Colton, I think you convinced me. I'm with you. I'm going with the upset here. Just looking at the history for UC San Diego on their season this year, it seems like they've had quite a few games where they've scored a high amount of points. And I don't care who you are, what conference you play in, but 30-4 is not a record to be snuffed at. So this team is a team that clearly deserves to be here, and I think they have a legitimate shot at beating this Michigan team.
If I remember correctly, they're riding the longest win streak in college basketball at 15 straight.
You are correct.
That's a hot team.
That is
I
a
like
hot
hot
team.
teams in March.
Very hot. And their opponent, UC Irvine, was a very highly rated, could have been also a sneaky upset pick had they won the tournament as well. So it's not like they were playing terrible competition, but their potential opponent in the round of 32 will either be Texas A&M or Yale. And I look at this, and it's right in the same exact spot it was last year with Auburn and Yale, because I think Auburn was the 5 and Yale was the 12. Or were they the 4? It doesn't matter. But and I just got to sit here and think that, first of all, Buzz Williams has a very experienced senior-led team that has been in high-pressure situations and has been and is aware of what happened to Auburn last year and how easily that can fall. Yale will give them hell.
Yale give them hail.
Yeah, but I think Texas A&M will work their way through it. But I get the pick of Yale. It'll be a hard-fought game and could go either way. But I like they got like 7 seniors on that A&M team. So, and I trust Buzzsaw to at least get through this first round here, even though I have doubts about their team.
I'm right there with you. I think experience matters in March, and I love A&M to keep on rolling. So give me an A&M.
There's a lot of guys from that Yale team last year, so I wouldn't say experience is the full difference maker, though.
Yeah, fair enough.
As I've said, coaching is the difference, but here I'm taking the statistics. Texas A&M is the worst shooting team out of the SEC. So I would take Yale here for the upset.
All right. Garrett, what you got?
I took Texas A&M. Don't really have a reason other than just lack of ball knowledge. It's just I know Texas A&M more than I do Yale. Sorry.
You got to understand, this is the equivalent of like me doing a college baseball tournament. So a bracket.
Suddenly, I now need this when Omaha rolls around.
Yeah. That way it's even. But moving down, we have a game that means a lot. Let's go ahead and start with the first 4 game. We have Ole Miss, San Diego State, or North Carolina. So, Josh, explain to me, if you want to go into why North Carolina why they should have been in the tournament in the first place, and then why they're going to beat San Diego State tonight.
I can literally sum it up because of Grant Hughes and NC on Twitter. Yes, I know, and I realize that is an NC in the last name, but Quad 1 is based on net rankings. UNC is number 36 in the net. Every team in the top 40 of this year's net made the NCAA tournament. West Virginia was 51, Indiana was 54. Wouldn't be a Quad 1 game for UNC on a neutral court. Only 4 teams in the net top 36 missed the NCAA tournament ever. That is why they got in. Yes, maybe the AD helped a little bit, but they also deserve to be in there. And I also think they will win this San Diego State game and keep it rolling. And by keep it rolling, I mean get it rolling. And they will be a very, very scary team to play in this tournament with the experience of RJ Davis.
Sorry, I felt that'd be the right time to pull out the Northerner here that was sitting on the desk. I think we actually happened to be presented by the Northerner. What a coincidence!
Right, yeah.
So that just happened to be sitting here. Shout out to the Northerner. I got a great piece on Sheree Palello, and Alex, you got a piece in there about women's basketball. That's a really good read.
That's right. We have some March Madness stuff in there too. So go pick up a magazine. All over campus, available now.
Yeah, go check it out. Yeah, it was a great time for that. So, yeah, I agree. I think North Carolina is going to win that first 4 game. I do. And that'll be their second Quad 1 win of the season. So that is why I have Ole Miss going ahead and beating North Carolina in the first game, in the first round. I can feel the steam coming out. So give me Ole Miss to win that.
Yeah, I have North Carolina winning the first 4 game, like you said, and then getting beat pretty handily by Ole Miss. I was going back and forth on this just because I guess underappreciated team in March can make some noise, but not this one that doesn't have, one quality win for sure, but that's about it.
Did anybody find it weird before we go to Garrett? I apologize. That they're playing Tuesday and then the winner will play Friday?
That is weird.
I didn't really notice that.
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
Yeah, they're playing Friday. So they're getting extra break in there.
That is weird.
And you know that, and you know,
shout out North Carolina's AD.
Couldn't have been a coincidence.
You guys can never, ever
he wasn't in the room, guys.
Surely it's a coincidence.
He wasn't in the room, he says.
Garrett, your take.
Right, he was just outside listening in.
Plus, I think Hamilton said that too. But anyways,
all right, Garrett, what you got?
I have Ole Miss just because I was tired of hearing about Josh talk about UNC all weekend. So I didn't care who won between the play-in game because I wanted Chris Beard to beat the tar out of him.
That's
Absolutely.
fair. I did talk a lot.
Yes, you did.
Sure did. And now let's go ahead and talk about Iowa State and Lipscomb. 3-14 matchup. Iowa State has been injury-ridden throughout the entire year. They are probably about as healthy as they've been. They will not have Keyshawn Gilbert in that game, and I believe throughout the tournament. So that's definitely a big loss for the Cyclones. But if there is one good thing good way to look at it, they're used to playing without their best players. So I think having Curtis Jones still on the team means you have a chance against anybody. And you still have a really, really solid, really great defensive team and still a good offense. So I think I'm not worried about them. I think they will win this game. I think Lipscomb, there's an outside chance. There's a team there in Nashville. We came to find out in Nashville. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Cyclones.
I was high, if you guys remember, on Lipscomb coming into this tournament. I liked what I saw and what I ended up reading about them. However, I have been on this Iowa State train all year. I'm not getting off. Obviously, I agree. Losing Gilbert does hurt. Hit their record without one of their star players and their record with all three on the court is night and day difference.
Yep.
But as you mentioned, as long as they got Curtis Jones, they're going to have a chance, and he's going to be a walking bucket through the tournament. So give me Iowa State.
Yeah, I'm going the same direction. Gilbert is out, but Lipsey is back, who they didn't have in the conference tournament. So
Yes, that is huge,
I
actually.
think this will be a pretty handily win for sure in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any signs of an upset here.
All right, Garrett?
Yeah, I'm kind of going with you guys as well. I have Iowa State advancing here. Just as a casual basketball fan of the past couple years, Iowa State has built their reputation on their defense, and as a guy that believes in defense wins you championships, I just feel like a mid-major team isn't ready to face that elite defense that they have.
Yep, great point. So then looking down, we have Marquette versus New Mexico. This is a very trendy. I never even had a second thought of pretty much anybody in that 10 spot was going to get the win for me. So New Mexico over Marquette, who has just had an abysmal second half of the season to this point. And New Mexico has gotten really hot, and they're coached by Richard Pitino. Richard, right? Mm-hmm. The son of some guy you may have heard of. That coaches St. John's. Can't quite think of that name. Pitino's obviously the last name, though. So, yeah, go ahead and give me New Mexico to win that one.
I told myself I wasn't going to fall for the New Mexico trap again. And then they drew Marquette. So I'm going to fall for the New Mexico trap again. I'm going to figure they somehow play defense, stop. It's Jones, right? Basically the Kemba Walker-like player for Marquette.
Yes,
Cam
yeah.
Jones.
Thank you, Cam Jones.
I almost said Curtis.
Yeah, they find a way to slow him down, which means they slow Marquette down and they get the win.
Marquette played in what I feel was the second best conference in the whole nation, but didn't really get a quality win at all in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're really ready for this moment. The only quality they have is against a team we won't mention, Purdue. But give me New Mexico here.
Michigan State and Bryant.
Garrett?
We'll get to Purdue soon. Oh, yeah, sorry, Garrett.
No, you're good. You're good. I kind of tended to agree with everyone. I typically hear more about Marquette than I usually do over the past season. So the fact that I wasn't hearing about them as much out of the Big East tells me they were kind of meh this year. And the way you guys have talked about New Mexico throughout the season, I just have to go with New Mexico here.
The Lobos.
Their defense is nasty.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think it'll be a threat for Michigan State. Mm-hmm. And don't sleep on this Bryant team. I had them circled as a team if they didn't go up against Michigan State. Maybe could have snuck something out. But I like this Michigan State team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They have gotten better. Seems like each and every game, really. Anytime I watch them, they're growing. They're still somewhat young. Chase Richardson has become their star player, but he didn't start out their star player. But Izzo has given them the reins, and it kind of reminds me of a team of Derrick Rose led team back in the day of Memphis, where he didn't start out the star, but he became the star towards the end of the season, and that ended pretty well for them. Not the best, but pretty well. So.
Yeah, last I checked, it's March. It's Izzo month. I'm taking Michigan State.
Didn't need all that accompanying junk, huh?
Yeah, I have one note on here. It says Izzo. Michigan State wins this one. It might be close, but Izzo doesn't lose these games.
So, Garrett, why is Bryant winning?
Oh no, I have Michigan State. I have Michigan State. I can't save the graphic on this one, dog. Like everybody said, it's just it's Tom Izzo. So I expect him to, at the very least, be able to get out of the first rounds. We'll see coming up.
Yeah, they got quite the bracket here.
It's a tough draw.
It is, and we probably should talk about some of these draws that other teams got. Like I don't think Auburn's is egregiously bad, other than Louisville and Lexington.
Houston had the toughest as the 1 seed. That was nasty what they did to them.
The Houston's got a disgusting draw.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, I would say Tennessee has a beautiful draw for themselves. So in the same bracket. Anyways, we'll get to that later on, though. Auburn, Louisville. I think Louisville will give them a fight. Also, just kind of based on, again, like you said, they're motivated. I think they're a lot better than their seed, and Auburn has kind of peaked, it feels like, and maybe they'll just turn the corner back around. But I still can't really sit here and say Louisville's going to win that game. Give me Auburn.
Remember, though, that will also be in Lexington. They will have that home court advantage.
Yeah.
Very scary to think about. That being said, though, I have Auburn and Creighton, and boys, I've got the number one going down. Give me Creighton and Kalkbrenner riding all the way and continuing to go. Yep.
Okay.
All right. I have Auburn and Louisville, and then I have Auburn advancing. I feel like this is where that conference difference kind of comes into play. Louisville's really not set up for that type of physicality that Auburn brings. I do think Auburn is going in the wrong direction at the wrong time, but I feel like they get this one done at least.
I was going to mention that also. Like, the team, me and you were high on Auburn. We were talking for months, that's the team. But the team we watched this weekend is not winning the tournament, and I don't think they get out of the second round. I think Louisville can beat them, and I think Creighton can beat them. I definitely don't think they would get past the next of Michigan or A&M, whoever that is.
Or UC San Diego.
Yeah, okay, well. Garrett, what do you got?
Yeah, I have Auburn and Louisville in this matchup as well, and I think I tend to agree with everyone except Josh here. Where I feel like Auburn is just the more powerful team here. I think Pat Kelsey's Cards have had a great season, but I think even with the home court advantage, I think Auburn's the better team, and this is where it comes to an end.
All right. So then that brings me to UC San Diego and Texas A&M. I'm going to let you guys go first because I still have a little thinking to do.
For me, it's Michigan and A&M, and I'm going to take the better coach and the more experienced team. Give me A&M to keep riding.
Mine is Michigan and Yale, and I will also take the better coach here. I would take Michigan.
Garrett?
I have UC San Diego and Texas A&M, and I wanted to be fun and throw a couple Cinderellas in there, so I have UCSD coming out of here with a win and getting to the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I don't know. I was looking at the team, looking at the players, looking at some of the stats, and I just I don't know. It just feels kind of, there's always one or two. Why not this team?
I'm really sitting and debating whether it's based on Garrett's answer. Is it, do I go with the one that doesn't follow because that typically works, or do I this is Garrett we're talking about? It's got to be Texas A&M, and it's puzzling. I really think it can go either way. In my first bracket, I had UC San Diego. I think we need a Cinderella run, kind of like Garrett says, and I don't know if I have that anywhere else on the bracket really in terms of a really lower seed. So give me UCSD to pull off the upset, the Tridents.
The Dents.
And then after that, we have Ole Miss. I think we all, except for Josh, had Ole Miss and Iowa State. I'm going to stay riding with Iowa State. This Ole Miss team is very indifferent to me, and that's one of the reasons why I had North Carolina winning originally. But I'm going to go with Iowa State, who I think is still going to be fine, which is missing just one player.
For me, obviously, like you said, it's Iowa State, North Carolina. And unfortunately, this is where the run ends, and I'm going to take Iowa State. I think they are the better team. They're proven. They play defense. They've got some size that could give Carolina problems because we don't have any. Or they don't have any. So.
And I have Iowa State and Ole Miss. I think this is a case of two teams with a similar identity. One's just better at it, and that's Iowa State. And that's who I would go with.
Absolutely. And then New Mexico and Michigan State. I think we all had this one, did we not?
I think so.
Yes. Oh, Garrett, I skipped you again. I'm sorry.
No worries. I as well have Ole Miss and Iowa State playing, and sort of going off of what everyone else has said, I feel like they play similar ball, but Ole Miss just feels a bit more inconsistent in that style of ball, in my opinion, than Iowa State has. So give me Iowa State here to move on.
All right. And then for New Mexico, Michigan State, I'm riding with Tom Izzo in March. This feels like one of the high-octane years for Tom Izzo, maybe one of the last, hopefully not. I guess kind of hopefully as a Big Ten Purdue fan, or Purdue enjoyer. Go ahead and give me the Spartans, but don't count out New Mexico. I think they'll if there's a spread, not that there's gambling in the world, but there is a thing called a spread. I would say they could probably cover that.
Yeah, it's March. I usually take Izzo to the Sweet 16 and figure out from there, so I'm just going to stick with Michigan State.
You do that. You do say that throughout the year.
Literally. There's 3 teams, and I'll be naming all 3 teams that way.
All 3 of them made it? Alex.
I am also going with Michigan State. Izzo and the experience that Michigan State has. They've been here before. They can handle these big games, and I think they'll handle this one.
Garrett?
Yeah, this definitely has the vibe of old stag versus young buck kind of thing, a guy on the rise and a legend that's been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
However, maybe it's just me, but over the course of the past 5 or 6 years, it feels like Michigan State has had a couple losses in the tournament where it's like, do you really we lost that game? And I feel like this could be one of those games. I feel like you've talked me in to the was it Richard Pitino? Is that what you said? Yeah. I feel like you've talked me in on the Richard Pitino hype train, and I don't know. I feel like this just feels like one of those sneaky games that Michigan State might actually drop. So I have New Mexico upsetting them.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. That brings us to the Sweet 16, where we have Auburn, or I have Auburn facing UC San Diego, and I have the no, I'm just kidding. I actually really could see the Tridents winning that game. I actually know somebody that picked them to win that game who knows a lot about basketball, probably more than me. So I have to ride with Johnny Broome. I have to ride with them one more time at least, and give me Auburn to knock off the Tridents. But that could be a close game.
Creighton A&M for me, and I'm going to keep riding that Creighton train all the way to the Elite Eight. So give me Creighton.
Alex?
I got Auburn and Michigan. I think this is a spot where Auburn's number one offense comes into play here. They're too much to handle on that side of the basketball, so I got Auburn in this one.
All right. I was like Michigan. I forgot Michigan's on the top half of the bracket. So then we have Iowa State and Michigan State. One I have gone back and forth on throughout the couple of days, because the only thing that's stopping me from just immediately putting Iowa State is the injuries. But like you said, Lipsey is back, and that's something that I kind of knew but had forgotten about, and he's a real game changer. He is their X factor. So, and we all have this matchup except for Garrett, so I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. And then maybe they'll help me make my decision.
I'm riding way too much on a team that I've believed way early in the year, and I'm not going to change off of it. I know, again, they're down a player, but they have something in them, and I'm going to stick with Iowa State to pull off the upset or knock off Michigan State.
I think this is unfortunately the matchup where it becomes glaring that injury is the case with Gilbert. So I would have Michigan State here. I think the scheme would be too good to concentrate on the 2 stars rather than having to concentrate on 3. So I'd like Michigan State in this one.
We were no help.
Nope. Garrett?
Yeah. So obviously I was the difference. I was the difference here. I had Iowa State and New Mexico, and just based on the matchup alone, defense wins championships. I think that Iowa State defense is too tough for a New Mexico team. So I think Iowa State advances. And then the last match, I also had Auburn and UCSD in the Sweet 16, and I took Auburn there as well. That's where the run ends for them.
I promise you, we won't forget you the whole time, Garrett.
Yeah, literally fine.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine and dandy, dude. Everything's fine and dandy.
All right. So I think my final decision is going to go ahead and be Michigan State, only because I think this is the Izzo year, maybe one of his final years that he can put a stamp on and get a Final Four run, because I have Michigan State beating Auburn and being my first team into the Final Four. I just like the direction this team is heading. They haven't been blistering hot at really any point in the season, but they've just been consistently good and getting consistently better. And those are some of the teams that you got to watch out for in March. And they have Tom Izzo as their head coach.
Fair enough. So for the Elite Eight, I had Creighton and Iowa State, 2 teams I had in the Final Four in the beginning of the year, and they will meet in the Elite Eight here. And I'm going to take Iowa State. I know, it's crazy. They don't have all 3 guys, and we keep saying it and we keep reiterating it. And I get your point. When you go against a coach like Izzo, he can turn around and get 2. But I feel like Iowa State has a little more depth than Creighton, so give me Iowa State.
Mine is Michigan State and Auburn, and here I am going with Michigan State. I feel like this is where the number 1 seed goes down. Johnny Broome, I feel like if you double him and are at least effective on the other guys, you can easily upset this team, and I feel like this is where it gets done.
Yeah. Here's a thought. What is one thing that you think you will regret doing once we roll around to the Final Four from this region? For me, it's going to be Iowa State. I think they could easily make me regret not picking them for the Final Four like Josh.
Oh, it's going to be Carolina. One of those teams in the 11 seed always get hot and go on a run. I think it's literally a streak that at least one team makes the Sweet 16 every year, or some insane stat. Yeah. So the fact that Carolina's got the experience, has talent. They were ranked in the beginning of the year for a reason. That that is going to be the one that I'm going to regret going, oh, well, I doubted my favorite team. So
I'm not gonna lie. I think I would also go with Carolina. Blue blood just know how to get it done in March, and this is a team that is doesn't have high expectations going into the tournament. I would say so. One that is slept on always has a little extra motivation coming into March.
All right.
Garrett,
all right.
do you got one that you think?
Yeah. Also, who's your Final Four pick?
Yeah, so my Final Four pick, thanks for asking. So
Maybe I should
had,
just start throwing it to him.
Yeah, please do.
I have Auburn and Iowa State in my Elite Eight in this South Division. I believe we saw this match earlier in the season at the Maui Invitational, correct?
Yes, and it was.
And it was a really good.
It was probably like second or third game of the year. It was the first one I said game of the year for.
It was a really good game. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe Iowa State pulled it out.
No, Auburn by one.
Okay. Well, in that case, I have Iowa State avenging that loss. They have long memories. They got memories like elephants. They're gonna remember that. And I have Iowa State. I mean, I just watched Auburn get shut down by Tennessee this weekend. So if anybody else can shut down Auburn, it's gonna be Iowa State. So I have Iowa State making the Final Four out of that South region.
Okay, yeah, that's. I'll put it this way: if they didn't run into Michigan State, I probably would have put Iowa State in that game as well, and I would have had Iowa State beating Auburn. It's just I like the Izzo. I like the vibes with Izzo and Michigan State this year. Wait a second. The last time I picked Michigan State at the 2 seed to make it the Final Four, they lost in the first round.
Oh, we see. That's
No. Oh, no. So we're going to change that after the show. But anyways.
To answer your other question really quickly about like what's something you could see happening that you didn't pick, I could, like Josh, I could kind of see Creighton making a run and getting hot. It seems like they're always a team that it's like they're either going to be out the first round or they're going to make like an Elite Eight run. So I could absolutely see Creighton catching fire here and making a deep run.
No doubt. And good coaching wins in March. And I almost said Doug McDermott, but Greg McDermott is a great coach. So let's go ahead and move over to the East bracket. And let's talk about this ugly, disgust. They gave Auburn the number one overall seed because they knew they were going to give Duke this easy path to the Final Four. Mississippi State Baylor is their second round matchup. We're looking at Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, Akron as potentially their round of 16, Sweet 16 matchup. And then the Elite Eight, it could be any of BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Alabama. I mean, there's really only two teams.
Hey, don't discount Robert Morris like that.
Yeah, okay.
I will. There's really only two, maybe three teams in this bracket that I could see finishing within 10 points of Duke. Like, it's pretty ugly.
I've got them with two threats in there. When we get to that point, literally, I have them playing their two threats.
Okay.
When it comes that time,
Yeah,
so I'll hold off on that. But if we're going to talk about a game that I'm most looking forward to, I think it is BYU Bama potentially.
Oh, okay.
Because BYU Bama are going to be able to shoot the lights out if they run into each other. Ain't nobody playing defense. First one to 100 wins. BYU's shooting threes all day long, and I don't think they have anybody to stop Sears. So that's the matchup I would most like to see in the, I guess,
Sweet 16.
Yeah, Sweet 16. Thank you.
Yeah, so I agree. That would probably be the most potential matchup I'd want to see. The first round matchup I'm most excited for, though, is BYU and VCU. This is such a head scratcher because you got VCU, which has a decent offense. There's kind of a misconception. They're a pretty efficient offense, just not like a blistering one like BYU. But they're going to mess up BYU's flow. BYU will not be able to win the way they're used to win, and VCU will keep that game close and keep BYU on their toes. So, and there's another thing I want to talk about after Alex gives his.
For my most excited one in the first round, give me Oregon and Liberty. This Oregon team I feel is one of the most overrated in the tournament, and Liberty is one that can get hot really quick.
You literally could have flipped Louisville and Oregon, and I wouldn't have said anything.
I said that as soon as the brackets came out.
I literally just saw it and noticed it. I'm like, if you would have flipped those two, I think I wouldn't have complained
at all.
Yeah,
That's where it
for sure.
should be. But anyways, now let me not get on my soapbox. BYU and Wisconsin is the matchup I would most be looking forward to.
Agreed.
Two very complete teams on both sides of the basketball, honestly. So that would just be like basketball nirvana right there.
Now, I told Alex this before the show. Wisconsin may have the worst draw of any team, maybe in the history of the tournament. They just played the last game before the tournament before the selection show, they are going to Denver to play one of the first games on Thursday. That's not a close close flight from Madison to Denver.
You throw in the altitude too.
I was about to say they are in altitude, which Montana is very used to playing in the altitude. Wow. And let's say they get past Montana, because Wisconsin is a quality team. They may play BYU. So, yeah, just take that as you will as we go through this bracket. But
Garrett, do you have game that you like?
Do you?
Honestly, I just see that VCU name and I smile because I remember them being awesome when I was like 12 years old.
Don't say that.
So I just any match that the Rams are in, I'm probably gonna root for them. So I'm excited for that BYU VCU match as well, Colton.
Absolutely, you brought back some sad memories. Though.
I know.
So let's go ahead and start. Anybody have any objection to Duke being American or Mount St. Mary?
All around the room. Nope, good. We're going.
All right, wow, shocker of
Would you
selection
I guess
show.
the question would be, would you play Cooper? I think versus 16 seed, I'm letting him rest
if
a
you're
little bit
talking
longer.
about like respect for the other team, yes.
I
If you're
feel like you
talking
don't
about
risk
like,
it.
What was that?
Don't risk it.
That's what I'm saying.
I would agree with Alex.
Right, like maybe limited just to see if
Right.
he can give a good run. But I wouldn't play
Maybe
him.
start him, play 5 minutes, and call it a day.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say limited minutes in the first half and go from there.
Yeah, I agree. If you're up by 20, just
Yeah.
hit the shower.
Go put your warm up on.
Yeah, exactly. So we all got Duke winning that game. Shocker. Mississippi State and Baylor is like such a. It's a game.
That's
It is a
one.
matchup.
It can be a fun game to watch. Don't like get that twisted. But it's just like two teams that, I guess they're tournament teams, and then they're definitely tournament teams.
They're
but-
just Duke's next victim. That's all I know about the winner there.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just going Mississippi State because Baylor is either going to lose by 30 or keep it close by 1 and still lose. So. Yeah, that's my take.
If I remember correctly, Mississippi State's the highest scoring team in the SEC, or one of the highest scoring.
One of the highest. Not the
Okay. They still can get buckets, and every time
Baylor doesn't play defense.
and every time I pick Baylor, they don't do well. So give me Mississippi State.
Elite 8 Baylor run coming.
Hey, if they knock off Duke, that's fine by me.
The shocker here, I'm not going with the SEC team. I was high on Baylor to start the season. Obviously, not as much anymore. But I like the star power that Baylor has over Mississippi State. I trust Mississippi State about as much as I do as Texas A&M, which I don't. So give me Baylor here. Garrett, how about you?
Those dang cowbells. I'm going Baylor for that reason only. It also doesn't really matter because, like Josh said, this is just Duke's next victim. So I really didn't give this one much thought. I just don't like the cowbells.
Understandable. I have a feeling I know where Alex is going with this one. Oregon and Liberty. Do you want to just go ahead and say it?
Just lead it off.
Yeah, Oregon has blowout losses to UCLA and Illinois. Liberty is top 5 in 3-point percentage and number 1 in effective field goal percentage. Give me Liberty, maybe in a blowout.
I'm going to side with Oregon. I believe they also are playing on the West Coast, if I remember correctly. So I think that will have a little bit of advantage for a team from Virginia having to fly all the way to the West Coast. If I remember correctly, it's Seattle. Don't hold me to that. So that's why I will go with Oregon, though. Garrett?
Honestly, I don't really know much about either of these two teams, so I just took chalk here.
I'm going with Oregon just because I trust Dan Altman, but I will flip back and forth because, like you said, on paper, Liberty should win this game, but Dan Altman seems to find a way to at least win one game in March. So,
That's very
and I don't hate this. I don't hate on this team as much. They have some ugly losses, but I mean, Shellstead and their big is not coming to my mind. The picture is there. Like I know exactly what he looks like. He's a very unique looking big, but he's not coming to mind. Biddle. I think that's a really good 1-2 punch that'll give Liberty some problems, like talent they haven't quite faced yet. So give me Oregon to win this game. And you already picked yours, so let's go ahead to Arizona and Akron, which is probably my first upset of the tourney. Just because Arizona likes to do that, and Akron is a hell of a team. But what do you guys got?
I'm going to go with Arizona. Caleb Love tends to show up in March, find ways to get a few baskets. Yes, I know. I believe it was last year they got upset in the first round, if I remember. No, they got to the
I think
Elite
was
Eight.
2 years ago.
Yeah, that was with Ball low.
Arizona go to the Elite Eight?
Last year?
Last year?
Sweet 16, Elite 8.
It might have been Sweet 16, but I think it was
Okay.
Elite
Yeah,
Eight.
I just remember
could
he
be
had that
wrong.
horrible shooting.
Yeah,
He
it was
sure
shooting
bad.
game.
He sure
Him
did.
and RJ Davis both in that round. But anyway, I'm going to take Arizona. Also, a game on the West Coast. Team from the Midwest having to travel out there. I think it does play an effect in a role in this situation.
I want to pick Akron so bad. I picked them last year in an upset. They didn't get it done. They beat NKU in a thriller at the buzzer on a dunk. They beat the brakes off of NKU this season, so I should pick them even more this season. I'm not. Give me Arizona. They know how to control the pace in a basketball game, and I feel like that's huge in March. So that's why I'm going with them. Garrett, how about you?
Yeah, this was another tough one for me to pick because again, casual basketball fan. I've seen Arizona's history in the tournament over the past couple years, and then I've also seen Akron come to town and whip up on NKU. So I have an upset here. I think Akron gets it done. Also, I just like the Akron Zips. That's fun.
But by the way,
Fun basketball. It's March.
Confirmed the game is in Seattle, by the way. So
Okay.
those Oregon fans, Jesus, they're going to be all over
Also-
the place.
Yeah, I'll be
That's
rough.
fair.
Also, it's really tough to make it all the way to your conference championship and then lose. So that's kind of another thing that I have
Good
going
motivate.
against Arizona.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and give me some action. Come on.
Yeah. I've actually flipped to Arizona as well. I've gone way too chalk in this portion of the bracket. Do I go Liberty? Well, we'll see. This will not be my final bracket. I don't know if I made it out to be that, but this is my bracket as of today. Call me about 2 hours from now and you got a different bracket. So next up, BYU and VCU. We're all looking forward to this one. And I originally said BYU and had them in the Elite Eight, but I am going to VCU. I think they're going to give BYU fits, give that offense fits. And I think their offense can somewhat keep up with the slowed down BYU offense. So if they can slow down that offense, I think they'll keep up, and I think they'll get that win. Give me VCU. And also notable, they lost to Duquesne last year. BYU did. Another A-10 team that was pretty good at defense. So
I'm going to go with BYU. I know it's weird to keep doing this, but I do think that altitude in Denver will play a role that they're used to playing in that kind of atmosphere. Virginia or VCU is not. So go ahead and give me BYU.
Yeah, I think this comes down to who makes the most three-pointers, and this is the top 5 team I'm picking in that contest, so give me BYU.
Garrett?
I have VCU for the memories.
Nice.
That's so real.
I love your
Not for the
bracket
memories from me.
You love my bracket.
I love it.
We're not even halfway
Because
through.
you
and we already
will
love it.
win the bracket challenge because that's how it works.
Exactly. Next up, Wisconsin and Montana. You want to talk about elevation? Montana is familiar with that, but I think Wisconsin survives this one. I think they're just too good of a team, but don't sleep on Montana. They'll cover that spread.
I'll tell you right now, before you told me all the stuff that you told me, I had Montana, and I'm going to stick with them for all the reason you said and more. I think Montana is going to be a very, very scary team for whoever plays them. So give me Montana.
Wisconsin, as I just talked about, three-pointers are big in March. They shoot 35% as a team, and they are one of the top shooting teams on the free throw line in the tournament, so I got Wisconsin here.
Garrett.
Yeah, I got Wisconsin for every reason Josh didn't say.
All right. St. Mary's and Vanderbilt. I mean, I kind of legally have to pick Vanderbilt here. It'd be awful rude of me not to. So, yeah, let's go ahead and write that in there. Vandy.
Talk about another potential misseeding. Poor St. Mary's, man. After winning their conference, get thrown a 7 seed. Sorry, winning their regular season by 3 games, mind you, over Gonzaga. They get this matchup where they're going to either play Vanderbilt and then potentially Bama right after that. Nasty work by the committee there. They at least could have been the 5 seed over Oregon, and I would have been okay with. That being said, though, for the brand, I'm taking Vandy.
I am curious. Do you think recent tournament history plays into effect at all?
As in,
St. Mary's has only beaten Indiana, I think, in recent years, even though they've gotten some favorable seedings.
I could see that. I mean, we talked about the whole SEC thing of where we're hoping they lose early, so we don't have to deal with that whole nonsense of 14 getting in every year. I could see them potentially having a brand, case in point, 11 seed. But yeah, no, I think the brand probably plays a role in it.
every 11 seed. Even San Diego State technically could be considered a brand. They made a national championship a couple of years ago.
Very true.
What you got, Alex?
As you all know, my chalk is usually SEC, but I think I went too much against them in most of my picks. So give me St. Mary's in this one. Vandy is a team that needs to score a lot of points. St. Mary's is a team that makes sure you don't score a lot of points. So I got St. Mary's in this one.
That's a great point. Garrett?
I have Vandy here as well, but I don't really know anything
It's
about
because of
St.
football.
Mary's.
Don't lie. It's because of
It's the
football.
vibe.
Garrett's like, what the hell is a St. Mary?
What is even their mascot? What are they?
The Gales.
Yes.
The
I don't.
Gales?
By the way, don't ask me what a gale is. I have no clue.
It's something
It's a
like
gale.
Celtic, I think. But what is even a gale? Yeah, give me the Commodores. What?
Alabama and Robert Morris.
Bama.
Yay!
Bama's dropping 100.
Why do I feel like Garrett's got RMU in his
No,
Sweet
I don't.
16?
I don't. I don't like Alabama. I don't like them that much. Or I don't not like them that much.
I don't know, guys. It's Bama. It's Bama.
Listen, Robert Morris is top 100 in rebounding. That's it.
That's it.
Everything else is outside of the top 100 by a lot. Robert Morris is going to get blown out by a whole bunch.
And I can't wait to watch every second of it.
I'm telling you, they're gonna get doubled up. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If they score 60 points, I'll be impressed.
Grant Nelson will be on Fulgaris, and that'll be the end of that.
Oh yeah.
That'll be the end of that. So there's our first round picks. Our second round picks. I got Duke and Mississippi State, and I got Duke.
Duke, Mississippi State. I already said Mississippi State's next victim. Duke.
I got Duke and Baylor. I don't think you're beating Duke if you don't have a good paint presence, and Baylor certainly doesn't have one better than Duke's. So give me Duke.
Thank you for giving actual analysis, Alex. Duke.
Coming from Garrett is crazy. Where is the analysis? I expect more from you. Oregon and Arizona. Actually, Liberty and Arizona. I've crossed it out twice now. We're going back to Liberty. This is an authentic bracket, reveal, guys. It's not a bracket reveal if I don't change my answer. So
Sure is.
go ahead and give me Liberty and Arizona. Give me Zona on that one. Like you said, Caleb Love likes to show up, but we'll see if he shows up next. Actually, wait a minute.
There it is.
Wait a minute.
It just clicked.
It just
clicked. There's the one matchup.
Oh,
All right. As that
all
being
right.
said, Oregon, Arizona. I'm waiting for the Duke killer to get to the Sweet 16 and match up against Duke. So give me Arizona.
God, they're going to lose in the first round, aren't they?
Oh, they 100% are now.
I
I
predicted it.
have Liberty and Arizona, and I think this is where Caleb Love has that bad game, and I got Liberty as the Cinderella to make it to the
Okay,
next
the
round.
Flames,
Way.
William Byron. Okay.
How about you,
Yeah.
Garrett?
I had Oregon and Akron here, and again, this to me was I just kind of took chalk here, and Oregon to move on.
Low-key.
Again, I don't think anybody's beaten Duke in that little quadrant.
Low key, I would take Akron in that game. I don't know why.
I think I'd side with you. I agree with that.
I think Oregon's good enough for one win, and they get to that second game, and it's just like, all right, let's go home now. But
So you have my bracket be Duke playing Akron. That would be a match, huh?
that's actually, I think my original bracket had that, and I think I have one bracket that I just said, like, I'm making this all based off feel, and then with no research, just off my feels, and I think that's my final bracket. It's on there. I could be wrong, though. Anyways,
Action.
VCU, Wisconsin, VCU. And that is because I think VCU will give Wisconsin's fits. They're going to have to play a different way than they're used to. That's what VCU makes them do. And VCU's offense, I think, is good enough to lead them to the Sweet 16.
Well, I mentioned I wanted BYU, Bama, so I'm taking BYU.
I have BYU in Wisconsin, and give me Wisconsin. John Tonji is I would say a top 10 player in the tournament, so
Yes.
BYU doesn't have him, Wisconsin does.
He did make TWSN's list. Anyway, Garrett.
I have VCU in Wisconsin here, and I actually have Wisconsin winning this game and moving on to the Sweet 16. Maybe my ball knowledge is not up to snuff, but I just think VCU will give you that one win, but I don't think they'll give you that second win over Wisconsin. So I think just the way I have my bracket set up, I think Wisconsin gets into the Sweet 16.
Great analysis, Garrett. Vandy and Bama. Really, I think Vandy can give a great fight. They beat him in the regular season, so if it all goes right, it could happen. I think St. Mary's as well could definitely give Bama some trouble. But I think Bama is a now tournament-tested team. We've seen it work, and I like their path here. Vandy is kind of a smaller Bama for me anyway, so give me Bama.
Obviously defense matters in March, so I 100% agree with you on the St. Mary's Bama matchup if that were to happen. However, I have Vandy Bama, and I think Bama rolls. Pun intended.
I do not think this is the usual streaky Alabama team of old. They are efficient both from three and in the paint, so give me Alabama here. SMU keeps it close because of their defense, but I think Alabama wins it.
Garrett.
I have Vandy playing Bama as well. We saw Vandy upset Bama during the football season, but I don't.
And basketball season.
And basketball season. There we go. But I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen in the tournament. I got Bama moving on here.
All right, now to our Sweet 16. I got Duke and Arizona. I already know Josh is thinking over there, but I am going to stick with Duke on this one. I'm going to ride with it. But if Caleb Love drops 40, it'd be tough. And I do. Hey, Josh, you want to explain why Arizona is going to win?
I can't do that for you. Duke is going to win. As much as I want Arizona to win, and I will be pulling for Arizona, Duke is the better team. Cooper Flag by that time should be pretty well rested / in rhythm of everything else. And I don't think this is the game where Caleb Love has that bad game. But if he does have a good game and he does drop 40,
All right, guys, we're asking somebody to pull 40 in a March Madness game.
Caleb Love's done it before.
Carson Edwards, just go watch his whole tournament. He dropped 40 every game. So,
Anyways, Duke playing Liberty. This is where the Flames unfortunately die. Duke wins by a lot.
Garrett.
yeah, Gaily, what you got?
Yeah, I have Duke and Oregon here, and again, I don't think anybody's beating Duke in that little quadrant there, so I have Duke making it to the Elite Eight, easy.
What an elite take of you.
Thank
VCU
you.
and Bama. I got Bama. I think VCU can definitely do what they did to the other two very offensive teams they played. I think Bama's just on a whole nother level. So give me Duke, Bama. Once again, 1-2 in the Elite Eight. That's not going to happen.
Bama, BYU. BYU's out of the altitude. Give me Bama.
I got Bama and Wisconsin, and surprise, surprise, picking against the SEC again. Give me Wisconsin. I think they're a deeper team, and I think Bama can be too reliant on Mark Sears among other players. They're not as deep, in my opinion, so I would like to pick the deep team in March. So give me Wisconsin.
As a Big Ten fan, I don't know if I follow, but
Okay.
what you got over there?
I also had Wisconsin and Alabama, like Alex, and I had Alabama, but Alex has convinced me to go with Wisconsin, also because I don't like Alabama. So give me Wisconsin in the Elite Eight.
Garrett did not need much convincing. He just needed one of us.
I just needed a one person.
Fair enough, fair enough. And then in my Elite Eight, I have Duke beating Bama. Duke is just Duke, and it's ugly.
Duke, Bama. Duke plays defense, gives Bama fits. Give me Duke.
Duke plays Wisconsin here. The Wisconsin Magic runs out. Duke wins by a lot.
I was really waiting for you to be like, Badgers win. Oh, all right, I give up.
It's interesting, Alex picking the Badgers.
Yeah.
of all people to have faith in
It's
them.
been 10 years, so like the
About to.
grudge has kind of died now, so it's all right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Frank Kaminsky.
How about you, Garrett?
Sam Decker.
Oh my goodness, y'all are ruthless.
Don't worry, we're about to get to the ruthless part for me. So.
So, yeah, I have Duke and Wisconsin here as well, and for every like the 5 or 6 words Alex just said, it's the same reason Duke's gonna win this game.
All right. So currently, I have Michigan State and Duke as my two Final Four contenders. What do you got, Josh?
I got Iowa State and Duke, just like I did in the beginning of the year.
Alex,
Michigan State and Duke.
Garrett.
Iowa State, Duke.
All right. So we got two on the same wavelength. Well, actually, we're all on the same wavelength on the East. But let's go ahead and move down to the Midwest. Houston was the third, number one.
I'm going to cut you off real fast. What's one team that you don't have? Yeah, just like you did last time. What's one team you're not believing in or believing maybe too much in that can burn you? For me, I don't know why, but I really do think it's Bama. I might have them too far. If they have a bad shooting night, they're going to lose. They're obviously good, like you said. They're going to beat Robert Morris, but Vandy's beat them before, and BYU can shoot with them. So the fact that I've got Bama going to the Elite Eight, I think, could be a big mistake.
Obviously, my pick would be Wisconsin because I have them going pretty far. So if Tanji does not have a great game every game, it could be very well a Badgers exit very quick.
I would agree with your Bama take. For me personally, though, it's going to be not taking BYU. They were in the Elite Eight in my original pick, so just flipping on them, going towards VCU. I could see that being a mistake.
And Garrett.
I still have been trying to figure out what a Gale is in my head, so I'm gonna go with St. Mary's just because of the unknown factor.
You got a computer over there, don't you?
It's dead. They just have they're just a complete wild card to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you just find out about their existence, or had you heard of them before?
Well, so I always got them confused with St. John's, and I wondered why we needed two Saint teams.
Hey, we got 3 this year.
What's the third?
St. Francis playing right now.
St. Francis.
I don't know
I
what
was
the
thinking
score
St.
is.
There's
Bonaventure.
also Mount St.
happens.
Mary's.
St.
but
Bonaventure
anyways.
Bonnies.
There is Mount St.
By the way,
Mary's. 4 of them.
A Gale refers to a person of Celtic or Celtic origin, specifically someone who speaks Gaelic. So you were kind of right, Garrett, basically.
Okay.
So the Midwest region, we have Houston, SIU, Edwardsville.
Huh?
Okay.
I didn't even know what the E stood for. So yeah, give me Houston.
Okay. Now that we got the
Colton,
one,
show me Edwardsville on a map.
I've been there. It's right next to Johnsonville, Tennessee.
Right next to Johnson City, Tennessee.
Johnson
huh?
City.
See, you keep getting it wrong. I don't believe you've been there.
It's because I love Johnsonville food, okay? Anyways, my matchup I'm most looking forward to is not any in this bracket. If I had to pick one, I would say probably Gonzaga, Georgia, maybe the Illinois, Texas, or Xavier game, but yeah, it's pretty ugly here.
I think it's either the winner of Purdue, High Point having to play Clemson because those were your 3 teams coming into the tournament. So I don't know what you did to the sports.
Purdue was not my team.
Purdue is your team.
Not, are you saying like team that like I predicted to go far in the
No.
tournament? Oh,
Like,
okay.
but I mean, it's like your team,
Like your favorite
and
team.
And then
No, they're not. No, they're not. NKU is.
and then High Point and Clemson, 2 teams you've been high on. The fact that Purdue has to play them, that's I don't know what you did to the sports guys, my friend.
That was one of the hours of my life when I got home from Nashville. It was just all downhill.
Oh yeah, I know. I got yelled at multiple times.
Josh, you don't even know what I was about to send you. I had it typed up and everything. I was like, maybe we shouldn't end the friendship.
I appreciate that, Alex.
Potential matchup for me is Houston and Gonzaga. Really like Gonzaga as a potential Cinderella. Yeah, they might be a bracket buster. And then first round matchup, Clemson versus McNeese. That's all vibes. I cannot wait to watch that game. It's gonna be a close one, I hope, at least.
I don't.
Garrett.
I don't really have one in this bracket, so I'm just gonna pick the Illinois and Texas and Xavier game because it'd be kind of cool to see Xavier make it. They're not, but it'd be kind of cool to see him get there.
Hey, don't sleep. They've been pretty hot recently. The potential one I'm looking for is Houston and Tennessee. I think that would be a great matchup. And actually probably also Purdue and anybody in the bottom half of the bracket because that means they made the Elite Eight. So not happening. But let's go ahead and go with Gonzaga and Georgia, in which I have Gonzaga, the more experienced coach team and just probably all around better team, knocking off the Bulldogs. And wait a minute. They're both the Bulldogs. It's the Bulldog Bowl. Wow, I just realized that. But yeah, give me the Bulldogs to beat the Bulldogs.
Last time I checked, it's still March, right? Yeah, okay, give me Gonzaga.
Yeah,
No, it's actually April.
Gonzaga's tied for first with most wins in March since 2020. Give me Gonzaga.
Yeah, it's gonna be Gonzaga.
Appreciate it. Clemson and McNeese. Will Wade being the head coach is really the only defining trait McNeese State has. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. They are a great team.
They got the coolest team manager in the world
They
right
do.
Talk
now.
about that dude with
do.
the speaker.
Yeah, the guy with the
Yes.
speaker, and then he just got 2 awesome NIL deals. So I'm
Did he?
happy for
Great.
Awesome.
Buffalo Wild Wings, and somebody else gave him an NIL
Oh, I
deal.
love that.
Yeah.
Good for
Great.
him.
Awesome. I still have Clemson winning though.
I also have Clemson winning. Wade has a foot out the door. He's taking a bigger and better job somewhere in the South. So give me Clemson.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. McNeese is all vibes, and Clemson is forget your vibes.
Yeah.
They're winning. Garrett.
Yeah, great story out of McNeese. Clemson doesn't care about your great story.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
All right, Colton, go ahead.
High Point.
I mean, here's the thing. I was literally left it blank. I was waiting for Colton to make this pick for me, so I'm gonna go High Point.
Yeah.
I made the pick a month ago. You didn't have to leave it blank. I literally said this a month ago.
Yeah, it
Sorry,
could have
Alex.
changed though.
Colton foreseen this for the gods, so I'm gonna go with High Point.
I mean, what are the odds?
It's
I watch a
prophetic.
team and I'm like, if that team played Purdue, they would win.
prophetic.
And then 1 month later, they play in Purdue. Go ahead, Garrett.
Poor Colton.
Yeah, no. If you haven't been paying attention to the show for the past month, High Point is going to beat Purdue. So I have High Point moving on as well. I'm sorry,
You heard it
Colton.
here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Literally. You want me to take it? All right.
Illinois or Texas, or Illinois versus Texas or Xavier. It's one of those where I need to know who won that game to kind of look more into the matchup.
fair.
I think if it's Texas, Illinois got that. If it's Xavier, I think it's 50-50. I'm going to go with Xavier winning, but Illinois still getting the overall game, just because I've been negative on them all year, and they kind of started to turn around towards the end of the year. So, yeah, give me Illinois.
I'm going to take the Xavier. I think they beat Texas because they will have the home court advantage. That place is going to be extremely, extremely covered in dark blue. So give me Xavier to beat Texas, who's not good, and then beat Illinois as well because, as I mentioned before, this team that gets to play in the first four tend to advance at least a round. So let me ride with Xavier.
Alabama State is currently up 62-60. We have our first close game. 4 minutes left in the second half. We'll keep you posted on what's going on with that game. But Alex,
Oh yeah, I guess we couldn't have a game cam because that'd be copyright. But anyways,
Yeah.
let's see, Texas and Xavier. I would pick either of them honestly. So I would pick Xavier to win that first 4 game and then beat Illinois. I think Illinois, like Oregon, is an overrated team that will get beat in the first round.
Garrett.
Yeah, this is sort of another matchup similar to Oregon and Liberty for me, where it's just like I don't really know enough about the team, so I just went chalk. But the way you've been talking makes me think I want to rethink that decision.
Well,
So,
do you want us to come back to you at the end of the?
let's come back.
Okay.
Let's come back. Wait until the next round, and I'll tell you who I have. Who I have the next team playing.
Sound it out. You
This
got
is
it.
why I kept on skipping. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, Garrett. Kentucky and Troy.
I wanted to give Troy a chance. Okay.
I'm pretty confident in Kentucky. I think Alex seemed pretty confident in Kentucky. Mark Pope seemed pretty confident in Kentucky. So, yeah, let me. Wildcat, you are gonna win, right?
Listen,
Oh boy, here we go. He's literally looking at the camera. This is awesome.
we don't have Calipari. We're getting a first round win.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. I'm also taking Kentucky because I'm afraid if I don't, Alex is going to kill me. Garrett.
I'm taking Kentucky because I have no idea what this Troy team is. So UK to move on.
UCLA. You know that is a college football team.
I know Troy. I know, I just don't know about the basketball team.
Oh, fair enough. UCLA and Utah State, two just kind of indifferent teams for me. UCLA has Mick Cronin. He's an experienced March Madness vet for sure. Utah State, once they got figured out, was a nothing in the Mid-Mountain West Conference. Maybe now that they're playing out of conference, it will be a little easier, but I'm going to go with the experience here and take UCLA. I wonder if where's he playing at? I wonder if he'll be complaining about how far he has to travel. What do y'all got?
I'm going to go ahead and just take UCLA. Their defense, and as you mentioned, the Fighting McCronins tend to play some great defense come March.
Going back to that football thing, Troy would beat Kentucky. But anyways, UCLA and Utah State was really a toss-up for me, and I just picked UCLA. Garrett?
I think we were all kind of the same here. I didn't really know which way this one would go, so I took UCLA.
By the way, it's in Rupp Arena.
Oh, wow. Poor thing.
Utah State. That's his story. Anyways.
Tennessee and Wofford. I love saying Wofford.
I
That's
love
such
Wofford,
a great
man.
school. They upset somebody at some point. I can't remember who.
I know at one point they beat the Bearcats in the regular season because I remember that very much well.
I was
Because
more
that's
so
how I
thinking
heard of
in
Wofford.
at some point in my lifetime in the tournament, but that's just not coming to mind right now. I still got Tennessee. They're actually looking really hot, really good. I'm really confident in this team. I'll talk about that a little bit later, though.
I actually will also have Tennessee, especially now that I found out it's in Lexington. We experienced it firsthand, y'all. That is going to be an orange arena.
Yeah, we saw the blue down
Holy
in Nashville,
crap.
and there will be a lot of orange in Lexington. That
So yeah,
weekend.
give me Tennessee and probably big as much as I do like the Wofford because they beat someone. You were right. I know they
Yeah.
beat someone. I just don't remember
I
who.
remember.
Yeah, because there's just that energy around Wofford that when I see them on there, like they beat somebody, but I can't remember who. But we'll figure it out at some point in life. Houston and Gonzaga.
I'm assuming
Garrett?
Tennessee.
Garrett.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
Everyone.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee for me as well.
Okay. I'm also flipping. Give me Xavier over the Illini. So just that's how brackets work, guys. You don't just go through one. You got to flip so that way it's wrong later on. Houston and Gonzaga. I'm going to stick with Houston. I think this has been a really great team, especially since conference play. Think about it. This is their second year in the Big 12, and they have ran that conference like they've been there for 20 years. I know they have their flaws, and Gonzaga is a very well-coached team, but Gonzaga played other top opponents and did not look the best. And I think Houston is still playing some really great ball. Gonzaga is playing great ball in the WCC. I'm sticking with Houston.
For me, I'm going Gonzaga. Houston keeps games too close, and I feel like Gonzaga will be able to take advantage of that at the end of the game and surprise this team and give me this as the first 8 seed really scary moment that we have in the tournament because all these 8 seeds are really good.
Every year since 2014, 2015, Gonzaga's at least gotten to the Sweet 16. That doesn't
Streaks
stop
are
now.
made to be broken.
It doesn't stop now. Give me the Zags.
All right, Garrett.
Yeah, I also had Houston Gonzaga like everyone else, and I am on the Gonzaga train. It's just I've seen them do it time and time again, just like Josh said, over the last decade. So until they don't, I can't really bet against them. Especially, I don't know how much of this Houston team is the same as the one that NKU faced.
Not much.
not
That was
much.
like 2 years ago.
Okay.
There's a couple guys on there.
All right. Well, regardless, kind of like Alex said, Houston likes to play teams close, and I feel
do.
like Gonzaga, if they start scoring, they can kind of peel away from them. so
Tell
to
you what,
speak.
though, man, that coach matchup between Few and Sampson
Oh,
is
yeah.
like
That's a good one.
cinema.
Exactly.
Cinema.
Exactly.
That's what March is about.
Yep.
It will be in the second round of all times. And then Clemson and High Point. Excuse me. I think High Point can definitely win this game, but I want to stick with Clemson, the team that I have been riding with pretty well since ACC play started. So give me the Tigers.
Same thing as I said last time. I was letting Colton make this pick because I know he was high on both teams. So give me Clemson.
Yeah, again, it's a cute story. Give me Clemson.
Yeah, I think Clemson was one of the few teams on the year to beat Duke, so I'm going to go Clemson as well.
All right. Xavier and UK for me now. I'll be honest, Alex, I switched to Xavier because I realized UK would beat Illinois, and for some reason I just don't think you guys are getting that Sweet 16 in year one. So give me Xavier to knock off UK and make a Sweet 16 run, continuing that streak Josh talked about of first 4 teams making it to the Sweet 16.
I mentioned it for a reason. Xavier's going to the Sweet 16. Give me Xavier.
Shocker, I'm picking Kentucky. Zach Fremantle could be the difference in this game. He won't. Amari Williams will be because he takes Big's lunch money, just like he did Janai Broom, who had the worst shooting game of the season against Kentucky. So give me the Cats.
Garrett?
So I have made my choice as for that first round match, and I have chosen Texas to move on. So I have a question for Alex.
All right.
Texas and UK in the regular season, how did they play each other?
We don't have to talk about that.
Texas beat them pretty bad.
Oh,
We don't have to talk about that one.
I didn't think about
In that case, give me Texas to move on to the Sweet 16. Then I think they could be a surprise, and they could be a surprise team that shocks a lot of people.
Barney Terry is playing for his job.
I mean, literally coaching for his job.
There's also literally, as in the case that Sean Miller is probably auditioning for that job tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, so Xavier, Texas, UK, all across the board. Anybody in that area? No Illinois though, so that'll be the one who ends up making it. UCLA and Tennessee. Give me Tennessee. Like I said, this is a hot team. This is a better team than UCLA. Mick Cronin can do some voodoo magic, but I'll just wait to see it.
I had originally UCLA, and then I saw that it was in Lexington, which is going to be basically Knoxville North. So give me Tennessee.
Yeah, between two streaky teams, I'm going to pick the better defense. Tennessee allows 27% from three. They win by a lot, probably. Garrett?
Yeah, so in this slot, I would have Texas and Tennessee. I just watched Tennessee advance to an SEC final, and I did not see Texas anywhere near the final, so give me Tennessee.
By the way, we got 68-68 under 40 seconds to go.
We sure
Absolutely
do.
March Classic in front of our eyes. Like always, Dayton delivers.
We got a timeout from Alabama State, so I'll take that timeout to tell you that Clemson will be beating Houston in the Sweet 16, making that Elite 8 run. I know there's been a lot of worries about their depth as the Hunter brother, not Chase, but his brother got hurt, and he was a very big defensive piece. But like you said, Houston keeps games close. We all know that, but I think Clemson is the one that ends up taking advantage of it and moves on to their second Elite Eight in a row.
I'm going to keep riding with the dogs. Give me Gonzaga. I think their experience with Nembhard at the point guard position is going to play a very, very big role in this tournament. Also, they have Mark Few, who is the better coach, so give me Gonzaga.
Defense wins in March. How suffocating is Clemson's defense? They only allow 65 points a game and average 7 steals. Give me Clemson. Garrett?
I have Gonzaga and Clemson here as well, and I have Clemson moving on. Dynasties have to die out at some point, and so I think Gonzaga upsets that number 1 seed in Houston and then loses out in the Sweet 16.
All right. Still on timeout here to face Auburn. Some hand gestures in the crowd. Got some. All right. Xavier in Tennessee for me. Give me Tennessee. Xavier is not built for that Tennessee defense, and we got a Clemson, Tennessee, an Orange Bowl, if you will.
Yeah, Xavier, Tennessee. Xavier had
yeah.
their fun. Tennessee will literally toy with them. Rick Barnes, though, does choke. If there's going to be a team to surprise, it could be Sean Miller with his coaching. But if the Texas job becomes open, does he have a foot out the door? Is he thinking about his next job? That could be something, but give me Tennessee and Rick Barnes to move on to their Elite Eight.
I have Kentucky, Tennessee. Please turn my camera off. I got Tennessee. I just don't see Kentucky beating this team for a third time this season, and they've got better as the season progressed. Tennessee wins it, I think. Unfortunately.
Garrett?
Are we picking the Elite Eight matchup right now, or did I skip one?
No,
the bottom where you have, I believe, Texas and Tennessee.
I thought that's what I picked before, but I'll go again.
Did I skip one?
I might have skipped.
Did I skip one in my bed?
No, we're right where we are.
You had UK and Tennessee.
Yeah, so Gary.
All right, so I'll just go again then. So yeah, I have Texas and Tennessee in the Sweet 16, and I just watched Tennessee go to a SEC championship, and
Yeah,
Texas
he did
did
say
not.
that.
So
He did
yeah,
say that.
I have Tennessee moving on to the Final Four.
Huh. That's weird.
So I must have accidentally skipped over a pick at some point.
But you said Clemson over Gonzaga, right?
I did.
It might have
Alright.
been the Tennessee UCLA game he somehow missed.
Perhaps.
It could have been
Somewhere
that
in
one.
There,
Yeah.
something
I think it
happened.
was actually. I think it was because I tried to go back and like reinsert Texas into my bracket, so I think I just overlooked that. I had Tennessee beating UCLA,
Fair enough.
obviously.
All right, so Clemson, Tennessee, Elite Eight for me. I really want to put Clemson in that Final Four, but I think Rick Barnes is going to do it, folks. I think Clemson is going to be extremely tired after having to beat Houston. So if Gonzaga were the last team they play, I think Clemson would probably win this game, but I think they're going to be exhausted after a hard-fought game. Guess what? They have to play a Tennessee team that had to play Xavier, who's probably not going to beat them up as much. We'll beat them up, but we'll not beat them up as much as Houston. So give me Rick Barnes to finally figure it out. I never would have thought Matt Painter would find himself in a national championship, much less a Final Four. And so at some point, you just figure it out. I like this team. I like the three-headed monster of Gainey, Lanier, and Ziegler. I think having two scorers instead of just Dalton Connect, who's a great scorer, as Alex knows firsthand, But I think having the two scorers put a little more effort off of Ziegler, that he can focus on the defensive side as opposed to the offensive side, and he's still a great offensive player, especially as that third option. So I think this is the year they do it, and if they don't, I will never pick Tennessee to make it out of the Elite Eight again. So, yep, Vols in the Final Four.
St. Francis just got the ball 4-3, and they turned the ball over.
They just run that ball right out of bounds.
They literally lost control
going
of
to
that.
the locker room.
How do you not call a timeout there at some point to get, like, when you have the ball in your hands? Anyway, so I had Gonzaga in Tennessee, and Colton has been bashing me for this for weeks, but I'm buying it. The Kool-Aid, I'm drinking it. Mark Few gets back to the Final Four. Give me Gonzaga.
Listen, Tennessee, they have this many Final Fours. So I don't see them doing it this year either. Clemson wins, and I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game.
That's for certain.
Garrett.
Again, this is my ball knowledge showing. I had no idea Clemson had made 0 Final Four, or Tennessee had made 0
I
Final
don't
Fours.
think has Clemson
up
made
to
any
this
Final
point.
Fours either.
Not that I can
but
think
Oh,
of.
really?
They are not as old as the university as Tennessee.
This is incredibly true.
Yeah, so with that new tidbit of information that I just learned, I'm going to switch my pick, and I'm going to take Clemson to go to the Final Four and rematch their ACC foe.
Okay. Yeah, the rematch will be fun.
I'll tell you what, though, you will not hear the end of it from the ACC fans if two of them get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
The ACC sucked. Yeah,
In a
okay.
down year, huh?
yeah. It's just you had two
Jared, you
really
just put
good,
that into reality.
top heavy teams. So that's okay. I can take it from as ACC fans as opposed to SEC fans. So
As he wears an SEC tournament
Right.
T-shirt.
I'm sorry, I'm self-aware. Sorry, I'm looking at this game here. We got an inbound from Alabama State. 3.4 seconds left. This is going to overtime, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm
this is
watching
go-
Coast to Coast.
This is going to overtime,
Oh.
and an absolute bomb. Oh, it's
Oh!
in! It's in! I have no idea who that is, but it's in. 0.7 seconds left. Alabama State is up 70. They just threw a Joe Burrow, Josh Allen-esque pass down the field right into the hands of,
Dude,
of
Josh's face
one
is
of the
killing me.
players.
How?
How
What?
about it?
I love March.
This is March, baby. Get
What?
ready. Alabama State is taking down Auburn. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones.
I really hope you all have this on at home. Also with the live stream also on.
Yes,
but,
of course. Yes, of course.
This game is very good.
Absolutely.
What?
That ending
Just
was
ha-
wild.
Looks like
One
they'll have
second,
1
though.
second left for St. Francis. Start praying. What are they? The red something or other?
Red Tide? I
Red.
think?
No. Like Flash. Red Flash.
Flash.
If they
Yeah.
make a
Yeah.
half quarter for the win, I'm pushing home. So I'm just putting
Don't worry, I'll shut
Next.
everything down.
No, West.
Yes, the West bracket.
Yes.
Sorry, March has started. And I have to-
I mean, Dayton does it every year.
it truly
It's
does.
exciting.
In this bracket, we have Florida as the #1 overall seed. Norfolk State as a 16 it's probably one of the better 16 seeds in a while, I must say. But Florida is also one of the best 1 seeds in a while. So, okay, we got that out of the way.
Oh, because, I watched this team this weekend. They are good.
Yeah.
Pretty solid. But there's been times. Anyways, they will have to face in the second round maybe UConn or Oklahoma, and then in the Sweet 16, Memphis, Colorado State. I know that's a trendy upset pick. Maryland and Grand Canyon is also in that side of the bracket, and then the Elite Eight they could face Missouri or Drake, a game I have circled as the one I'm looking forward to in this first round. Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington, Kansas, Arkansas. That is quite the matchup. And then St. John's and Omaha. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, the one I'm looking most forward to as a possible matchup, Cal versus Patino. We all want to see it. We all want to see it. I think we all want the same person to win, and we're pretty confident it will happen. But I do want to see it. Sorry, Bill Self in Kansas. I would like to see that though.
Yeah, for me, if we're talking about potential matchup, it is Mizzou versus Texas Tech. Two totally different teams, the way they play and the style. I know you say Texas Tech's offense is a lot better than they normally are, but they've been known as their defense through most of their time. And Mizzou does not play defense, but they can get buckets. And, NKU work.
I'm most excited for the Ego Bowl between Patino and Calipari. But the first round matchup I'm most excited for is Memphis and Colorado State. Two very good mid majors, maybe the best in the tournament, and they both have to go against each other in the first round.
That's because they hate
That's great for us
mid-majors.
fans, I guess. But
will be fun.
Sucks for the rest of the tournament.
All right. Well, UConn,
Garrett.
Oklahoma. Garrett, sorry, you exist.
Yes, I do. I'm back here, by the way. Me and Colton joke about it all the time. Anytime Grand Canyon is mentioned, I get excited. So I see Grand Canyon squaring off against Maryland in the first round, and I don't know. I'm excited to see those purple uniforms go to work.
We have a former assistant coach of Penny Hardaway at Memphis, also an Auburn assistant, I believe last year, is currently giving the interview as Alabama State, the current head coach of that, has gotten the win. Shout out to the Hornets. The Hornets are going up against Auburn.
This is March.
This is March.
Speaking of a March, UConn's in the tournament, y'all, and they play Oklahoma. Oklahoma did not deserve a 9 seed. UConn is going to
Oklahoma
show
didn't
why.
deserve a seed at all.
Yeah, UConn is going to show them why they didn't deserve the 9 seed and absolutely blow the doors off of them. Give me UConn.
UConn's way higher seeded if not for the Maui Invitational. I know we still have to take that into account, but they're a much different team than they were then. UConn wins by a lot.
I'm
Garrett?
excited.
Yeah, I mean, we all talked about how loaded the SEC was, and if you weren't at the top of that conversation, I mean, you kind of just fell out of the conversation. So I really don't see any way a team that had a mediocre record in the SEC can outperform this UConn team. So give me UConn.
They also got blown out by every upper echelon team in the SEC.
There you go.
Oklahoma's very bad.
Yep, but they're a 9 seed. Interesting. Memphis, Colorado State. Alex, excuse me. You mentioned this as your game you're looking forward to. A lot of people see this as an upset. Memphis is Tyrese Hunter of Memphis, I believe, is still questionable, not confirmed or denied whether he'll be able to play.
Right.
That'll be a big factor in it. But I think either way, Memphis has this win because the Mountain West has this funny way of like we all think these teams should be in the tournament, and then they lay duds in the first round. So I've already picked New Mexico to win a game. So I don't think there'll be another one. Colorado State drops to a good Memphis team who played really great in the non-conference against UConn, amongst other high major opponents. Colorado State lost to Colorado, lost to there's another bad one on there, UC Irvine or San something, one or the other. So like just some ugly losses, maybe Bakersfield. Ugly losses on the non-conference. So now they're out of that Mountain West that they're familiar with playing with. And I think Memphis is going to get this one.
I think the injury plays a big role, so give me Colorado State.
I maybe have looked too far into the numbers for this one because of the conference they play in. But Colorado State is top 50 in the nation in offensive and defensive efficiency. So I'm going with Colorado State in this one. Garrett?
I didn't really have a lean on this one either way. I don't know too much about either of these two teams, so I picked Memphis because Derrick Rose.
Gary, we'll stick with
That's
you.
so real.
It's Maryland and Grand Canyon. Which one are you taking?
Colton, who are you picking? Because y'all already know who I'm picking. It's Grand Canyon. They're just my fun team, you know.
My initial reaction was Maryland, and maybe this is the one I am looking too much in the numbers. Maryland has a starting five known as the Crab Five, and it's mostly known as that because they don't have a bench.
Right.
So let's say those starters were to get into foul trouble, they would be in trouble. And Grand Canyon has the 7th most attempted free throws in the nation. They like to draw fouls. That would be what I would assume from that stat. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Grand Canyon has that. If they probably aren't even focusing on trying to draw fouls. I mean, I'm sure it's a point of emphasis, but that's going to be their focus going into this game. Get these starters in foul trouble. And I've watched some Maryland games. That's not a hard thing to do. So go ahead and give me Grand Canyon to get the upset and play Memphis in the second round.
Yeah, I'm taking Grand Canyon because Crab 5 is the stupidest nickname I've ever heard in my life.
Hey,
Shut
now.
up, Josh. You're just jealous.
Professional hater.
Yep,
By far.
exactly.
I'll drink that haterade.
I am stubborn, so I'm going to go with my original pick, even though Colton just gave a great explanation to why they will not win. But I'm going with Maryland. I already think Grand Canyon's going to upset somebody in the women's basketball tournament, so I don't think they can do both. That's my reasoning. It's good. Garrett?
Oh, we already
Wonder why you
talked
got
about me.
Grand Canyon.
I let us off on this one. It's Grand Canyon all the way.
Grand Canyon all the way. I will say if Maryland were to go to the next round, I think they would beat Memphis because of that injury. And Memphis isn't as foul prone or to make them foul. So I don't hate the Maryland pick, but I think Grand Canyon's got the tools to get this done. So, and now the one that there's always one that every time I talk about it, I flip. Every time I look at it, I flip. I think the last time I did it was Drake. So I guess at this point, they give me Missouri. I don't know. What do you guys got?
Yeah, I'm going with Mizzou. They just get buckets. I know Drake is that New Mexico team that we talk about where every year everybody's like, oh, Drake's going to do something. Drake's going to do something. And then Drake never does anything. I don't think this is going to be any different. So go ahead and give me Missouri.
I'm not going to bet against my friend Marquez Ward, so give me Mizzou. They're better defensively than they get credit for. They just had to play in, the best conference of all time.
Yep. Garrett?
Yeah, so Josh brought up earlier when talking about, I think it was North Carolina, talking about how there always seems to be an 11 seed that gets really, really hot. I think Drake is going to be that 11 seed this
He's
year.
fallen in the trap.
I have fallen in the trap. They're 30-3. I don't care what conference you play in. 30-3 is an incredible record. They put up enough offensive numbers. They just need a bad game from Missouri, who hasn't seen that, and they could easily move on to this next round.
I mean, he's got a point.
He's not wrong.
They played nasty defense. Absolutely nasty defense.
I've just been high on this team for a while, so I don't want to go against them in the first round.
Hearing those two really convinced me, and then somehow Garrett, of all people, has me right back on the fence. Can't wait to see what my final selection on that is. Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington. I hate to discount UNC Wilmington, great mid-major, but I am super high on this Texas Tech team. So give me Texas Tech to advance.
I have no explanation besides the Texas Tech team. You've made me believers in them, so I'm not going to take UNCW. Give me Texas Tech.
He just wants to blame me if they lose.
Absolutely.
The only explanation you need is Texas Tech is one of the best defensive teams in the nation. Give me Texas Tech. Garrett?
UNC Wilmington feels like the 80th institution in North Carolina that has basketball. So I just trust that Texas Tech roster more. Give me Texas Tech to move on here.
The random addition of that. Kansas and Arkansas. Bill Self and John Calipari.
That is a first round
Boy.
match.
In the first round, I got to believe in the players in this one, though. And I'm going to go with, why would I go with him? But Hunter Dickinson in Kansas, motivated to get a win. And to be quite frank, I don't think Arkansas should have been in the tournament in the first place. I knew they were going to be in there, but I think this is proven here by a Kansas win, but they'll keep it close.
I'm going to pass this to you first because I want to hear your take on it.
You can't look at this game and say this is not about TV sometimes.
Yeah.
This is the mid-off, and I can't wait to watch it still.
Yep.
Hunter Dickinson is going to push around Big Z like nobody's business because Amari Williams did, and Hunter Dickinson has a little more size
A wee bit.
than Amari. So Bill Self is on one side, Coach Cal is on the other. Give me another Coach Cal special. He loses in the first round.
All right, so I'm going to say, I didn't know if a little bit of your heart would be in there, but you actually gave reasons on why. So I've been going back and forth. The way you talk about Missouri Drake is how I've been with Kansas, Arkansas, but I've got Kansas written down, so I'm going to stick with Kansas because of Hunter Dickinson and then also Bill Self. Man, he wins in March.
Mm-hmm.
Give it.
Yeah, I think this is probably the one that I saw when looking at this bracket that I just had no idea who to pick for this one. But I think after hearing all of what you had to say, I think my original pick of Kansas, I feel like I'm going to lock that in here. I think y'all have given me enough reasons to confirm that pick.
Either way, I'm happy. Cal loses or Hunter Dickinson's career ends. So either way, it's not a bad deal.
It's a win-win scenario. St. John's and Omaha. I really wanted to see some trash cans being destroyed. And I think it can still theoretically happen. But I'm not going to be the one to say it. So give me St. John's. It's not quite the Ego Bowl, but I'm sure Bill Self has himself an ego as well. Mm-hmm. So Bill Self, Rick Pitino, can't complain there. They played in the regular season, didn't they? Or I may be off one.
I don't know.
I believe this game is in Rhode Island, so everything tells me that I should take St. John's because those fans are going to travel.
That means Matt Painter, Rick Pitino, Bill Self, and John Calipari are all in the same place.
That all being said, I'm going to say hide the trash cans in Rhode Island. Give me Omaha to upset St. John's.
A trash can will be beat, and its name is Omaha. Give me St. John's by infinity.
Oh my
Garrett?
goodness. I mean, yeah, I kind of have to agree with you, Alex. I wasn't aware of Omaha's existence as a program until starting this bracket today. So give me St. John's to advance.
They beat the crap out of trash cans after every game. Enough said.
The Houston Astros?
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I did not think about that one. So now we're on to the second round. Florida.
Did I mention I hate CBS Sports?
Why? Why? Oh, that's why. So
Yeah.
for
Explain for the people
context,
in the
they
back
just
here.
showed, huh?
Explain for the people in the back here.
Yeah. I was getting to that. They just showed the. It's okay, Josh. Villanova game-winning shot over
Oh, no.
North Carolina on there with Jay Wright before the North Carolina game.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's
It's okay,
tough.
Josh.
It's gonna haunt me the rest of March. It's fine. It will always come
It's
up
gonna haunt
every
you
March.
every March,
I'm gonna say
so-
every March for the rest of my life. Kind of like Luke May hitting a shot.
I would say Christian Leitner because that one gets replayed a lot more.
Yeah,
True.
that one for sure does. Everyone
Let's
hates
move on.
Florida, UConn.
That game, man.
That should be fun.
That should be fun, but I still think Florida wins. They have been beating high quality opponents by 10 points, and I think UConn is a mid to high quality opponent. So give me Florida.
Yeah, don't hold me to this, but I believe like all 5 starters for Florida score in double digits. They've got 7 dudes who score at least 8 points a game. The team is just top to bottom, arguably the best team in college basketball. I only believe it more after watching them this past weekend. So give me Florida to end the Bob Hurley, which man, oh man, Jesus, the coaches in this conference
Yeah.
Yeah,
Region.
or region. Thank you.
I really believe in the 8 seeds in this tournament. This 8 seed just ran into the wrong 1 seed. Florida wins.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett?
Yeah, I think Josh described it perfectly. Tennessee is a 2 seed in this tournament, and Florida beat them by 20 points on Sunday. So, as just like Alex said, all the 8 seeds here are pretty good. UConn just got a bad draw. This Florida team is on a roll right now.
Memphis and Grand Canyon. I'm going to ride with Memphis. Hopefully they get a little more healthy by this point. I think if Hunter misses the first game and they win, that could actually low-key be an advantage. He'll have some fresh legs. But we'll see how that all plays out. But give me Memphis to continue, make the Sweet 16, I believe, for the second time in recent memory. They made it that year. Or no, did FAU beat? Yeah, FAU beat them. Never mind. Sorry. God, don't even remind me about that year.
Yeah, so I thought he was out for sure this weekend. Like I thought that's already been reported.
As of a couple hours ago, it was still up in the air. Could have changed.
Okay, well, I'll probably regret this then. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Kool-Aid, the purple Kool-Aid. Give me Grand Canyon over Colorado State.
I got Colorado State and Maryland, and I actually have Colorado State winning this one.
Wow. Okay. So Alex is drinking the Mountain West Kool-Aid.
Yeah, for sure.
That's never bitten anybody. Garrett, who you got?
So I have Memphis and Grand Canyon, and just from the conversation we had around that Memphis and Colorado State game, I'm not 100% confident in my pick in Memphis, but I am 100% confident in my pick in GCU, and I am going to follow Josh here and send GCU to the Sweet 16.
Okay. All right. To face Florida. But first, Mizzou, Texas Tech. I have Texas Tech. Love this team. Like this team. Strongly like this team. I have strong, great feelings for this team. I think Mizzou is great, but Texas Tech is just better.
I also got Mizzou and Texas Tech, and just as Alex said last time, I'm going to keep riding with it because of work. Give me Mizzou.
Texas Tech has the better number 1 overall scoring option, but I think Mizzou has the better options overall. So I would go with Mizzou in this one over Texas Tech. Garrett?
And I am the only different matchup here with Drake facing Texas Tech. And this is definitely my biggest stretch of the tournament, but I have Drake keeping that momentum hot after pulling off the upset over Missouri and making it to the Sweet 16.
When we get Drake and Grand Canyon on his bracket, I'm gonna laugh.
I feel I feel more confident in my pick of Missouri, knowing that Garrett is now it's his like canon event of falling into the Drake trap. So
Okay.
that makes me more
It's my
confident.
turn this year.
Texas Tech could go that way, but Florida and Memphis. I think anybody you put in that bottom.
You forgot the Kansas.
Oh well, I had St. John's winning that game. What do y'all got?
Well, I got Kansas Omaha, and the trash cans don't get kicked. Give me Kansas.
I have the St. John's and Kansas matchup. Give me St. John's.
I as well have St. John's in Kansas, and I am also going St. John's.
Okay. So then that brings us to Florida and Memphis, and that, like I was leading to, Florida. Give me at least an Elite Eight from this team.
Yeah, I got Florida, Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon was a fun story. Florida rolls.
Yeah, I got Florida, Colorado State. Colorado State would be a cute story. Florida wins by a lot.
Yeah.
Garrett?
Very cute
Yep,
story.
similar story. I've got Florida and Grand Canyon, and Florida's too good. Sorry, Grand Canyon.
All right, Texas Tech, St. John's. Give me that Texas Tech Red Raiders. I'm riding with them. I know St. John's is an outstanding team, well-coached team, but that lack of offense leaves the door open for a team like Texas Tech, who's balanced on both sides, can keep their offense at bay, and is used to playing against teams like Houston and Iowa State. They're battle-tested for this type of defense, and I think they will be able to overcome that and beat the Red Storm. Red Raiders will win that.
So I got Mizzou versus Kansas, and as much as fun as I've been having with
What's that
Warwick,
called? The Oaken Bucket or something?
I don't know what it is. Garrett, do you know which one the football rivalry is for Kansas Mizzou?
I do
I
not.
think it's more of a basketball rivalry.
I
is
do
it
not.
basketball?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget what it's called, but it's a big one.
Anyway, Mizzou, Kansas. Bill Self, despite all the hating all year long, will get his team to the Elite Eight. Give me Kansas.
I have Mizzou and St. John's. A week ago, I probably would have picked a different team, but you all made me aware of St. John's issues on offense, so I'm going to go with Mizzou.
Okay, Mizzou and Marquez Warwick to the Elite Eight. Gary, did you pick this one?
I have not picked this one
Go ahead.
yet. This is the matchup that I have different from everybody because I have Drake all the way up here in the Sweet 16 playing St. John's, and Rick Pitino is going to say "Cool story, bro," and move on to the Elite Eight.
All right. Just to make a point here, Drake hasn't had a win since like 2016 Views. So, anyways,
Since what?
that's a Drake album.
Terrible album, by the way.
I
you don't like
I
Views?
don't listen to
No, I
them,
don't.
so
That's like the last
I feel
Drake
like
album.
that's when Drake fell
I can
off. But
stomach.
anyways,
is
That's
that the one where
Scorpion
he's
for me.
sitting on top of the tower?
Mhm.
Okay.
I like pop style. I like
Foreign
pop style a lot,
language.
so. Anyways, trying to think of something.
Tangent.
Anyways, Florida, Texas Tech for me. I feel like Florida's my Auburn this year, so I want to go ahead and take Texas Tech. Wait, Texas Tech is my Auburn this year. Never mind.
You want to think about it? All right. Well, I got Florida, Kansas, and this is where the Kansas Bill Self stuff runs out. I'm drinking way too much Kool-Aid on what I saw this weekend, and I feel like I'm gonna regret this in the long run. But Florida's probably the best team in the country, so give me Florida.
I don't think you are going to regret it. I have Florida and Mizzou, and I think Florida wins this one pretty easily.
Garrett.
So I have Florida and St. John's here, which I think would be a very entertaining matchup to
Yep.
see Rick Pitino try to face off against that high-powered Florida offense. But I think the offense would prevail in that scenario. I mean, I just watched them put up 100 points in a championship match. I mean, they look unbeatable right now. So give me Florida to advance to the Final Four and snag that last spot.
They look too unbeatable, folks. Give me Texas Tech to knock off the Gators in the Elite Eight and face Michigan State in the Final Four.
Big pick.
All right.
That's not going to make it to Thursday.
I don't think it might not make it till the end of the show.
He's already got it.
All right. So from this region, what is your biggest regret outside of Texas Tech? For me, it's probably going to be sleeping on that of Drake.
For me, it's going to be the unknown of Memphis because if he does play, that team I said could be scary good, and I think they could beat Florida because they may. Nah, Clayton's probably better than Haggerty, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then I won't go there. But something tells me Kansas or Arkansas is going to send St. John's home. It is just a gut feel, but whoever wins that game is sending Bettina home.
Yeah, that was my feeling too. The thing I'm going to regret is I'm not going to regret not picking Arkansas, but I just know Arkansas is going to make me eat my words somehow, and I'm going to hate every second of it.
So, Garrett, where do we start with you?
Well, I was just gonna kind of go opposite of what you said, because I can absolutely see. Like I said, Missouri before has played some inconsistent ball. When they're bad, they're bad, but when they're good, they're good. So, like honestly, that game could go either way. And if Missouri does get hot, I can see them making it as far as the Sweet 16.
That's kind of a microcosm of Missouri as a program. When they're bad, they win 0 games in the SEC. When they're good, they're 6th seed in the tournament.
Yep.
So, my Final Four, as a reminder, Michigan State playing Texas Tech, Duke playing Tennessee. Josh.
I've got Iowa State playing Florida and Duke playing Gonzaga. Alex.
I have Michigan State playing Florida and Duke playing Clemson. Garrett.
I have Iowa State playing Florida and Duke playing Clemson.
All right. Did you both have the same?
Me and
Duke
Alex.
and Clemson,
Yeah.
I think.
Did you have Iowa State too?
I had Michigan State.
Michigan State, there it is.
I heard the state and then.
Yep.
Okay.
Me and
That's
Garrett.
whatever.
Me and Garrett have 3 of the same 4.
Okay, so we got some. Nobody has Texas Tech. That is for damn sure.
Yeah, that's on you, bud. That's all you.
And guess what?
No.
Please tell me.
Tom Izzo is making it to the national championship, folks. I feel like this is kind of the year that we're going to look back on as his last big run to the championship, and that's what I'm probably going to stick with into Thursday.
For me,
FYI, I have them losing to Iowa State on my first chance bracket.
For me, I was a big believer in Iowa State. If Iowa State had all 3 players, I would actually really consider them beating Florida. However, they don't. Florida's healthy. Give me Florida.
Where have I believed in a better team than a better coach? Probably 10 years ago. But anyways, still give me Florida in this one.
Garrett.
I think Florida and Iowa State will be a matchup of 2 combating strengths in Florida's offense and Iowa State's defense. But again, I just saw Florida put up 100 points in a championship game. I think Florida will overwhelm the defense of Iowa State and will make it to the championship.
So, I have a championship of Michigan State and Duke. Josh.
We didn't even talk about the other side yet, but I had Duke and Gonzaga in that Final Four matchup, and I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and side with Duke,
Been
which
up
will
for
give
16
me
hours.
which will give me Florida versus Duke.
Yeah, I also have Florida versus Duke. The revenge game is not going to be pretty for Clemson, I don't think. Garrett?
Yep, I'm with you there, bud. Duke is not happy that they lost to Clemson that one time. They are going to pull out all the stops to beat them in the Final Four, and it will be a Florida-Duke final.
All right. And then my champion, I'm just going to go ahead. It's been kind of a rough go for champions for me, and really either way here, I'm not a big Michigan State fan, but I respect Tom Izzo. So I think the team that I don't respect and do not like is Duke, so they will win the national championship this year.
Anybody remember what I did in college football? When I said at least I'll put it in the universe. It happens. I'll be okay with it because we'll have money on it. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and take Duke to beat Florida in the national championship.
I'm an SEC homer, so I'm taking Florida in this one since I had to pick against SEC so many other times. Give me Florida. Garrett?
Yeah, I think either way, this is going to be a fun championship game to watch. I just have a bit more belief in Duke than I do Florida. I think if you're smart with Cooper Flagg, he'll absolutely be healthy for this. So I just think that 2-headed monster of Flagg and Knuppel at the top is just going to be too much for Florida to deal with.
Is that the best matchup possible? Florida Duke.
I think so.
Yes.
I
think
so.
the only one that storylines wise would be better is Auburn and Duke because of the rematch from earlier in the year. And to be fair, I think if Auburn played Duke, that means they're playing really good ball. I think Auburn wins that game as a revenge. But
The 2 player of the years going against each other, basically. Yeah. That'll be a good headline.
That actually might. Would that be better than Florida Duke?
yes, I think it would.
I would still go Florida Duke, but I think
In terms of
Auburn,
what's on the court,
Auburn
maybe.
and Duke is a very close second.
And then I'll ask.
Won't lose any sleep.
So I apologize, Garrett. Do you agree with that? That would be the matchup you really want to see.
I said it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be the best matchup.
What would be the nightmare matchup of you don't want to watch? I'm assuming it's going to be Arkansas versus somebody, but a realistic shot of
Got
like
distracted
your.
by Sabrina and Esco. Sorry.
I apologize. The realistic shot of like, okay, this game I don't want to watch kind of thing.
Not gonna lie, I kind of hate both of these teams. So I think the one that I've put in the universe is the one that I do not like a lot.
Duke and Florida is the
Yeah.
one. Fair enough. Garrett, do you have a nightmare matchup?
I don't think they would get to this point because of where they are in the bracket. But if Florida were to face off against Alabama again, those are my two least favorite teams. So I would not like to see that national title. I don't think it would happen though.
Yeah, Purdue and Grand Canyon. I would just hate to see that. That would be such a shame. I would just hate that championship.
I'm buying the Grand Canyon jersey if it happens.
It's not happening.
March is madness, buddy. You
think-
never know.
I think my worst nightmare would be Rick Barnes getting to the national championship. It doesn't matter who.
Really?
It doesn't matter who he plays. I just have talked so much crap about Rick Barnes ever. I mean, this man couldn't win out of the first round with Kevin Durant, if I remember correctly, because he lost to OJ Mayo and USC that year, if my memory is correct.
What seed were they?
It was like 8-9 or something like that.
Well, that's the first problem.
Yeah, but anyway, I have bashed Rick Barnes enough that if Rick Barnes gets to a national championship, and I could argue it would probably be versus Michigan State because I respect Izzo, I do, but his national championship was not rightfully deserved because Kenny Martin got injured, and I'm going to go to my grave saying that till the day I die.
All right.
All right, kind of like I could. There's many points I could make.
My game
about
starts
that.
in 5 minutes.
His game starts in 5 minutes, so Josh is ready to wrap this thing up. And so I say we take 5 more minutes, folks.
Yeah,
Just
that
kidding.
sounds good to me.
All right, I do have to ask.
Who do you think's gonna have the coolest uniforms in this tournament?
Grand Canyon for sure.
You're right.
All right, I do have to ask. Dark horse out of nowhere, not even maybe not even in your Sweet 16. Who is your dark horse champion pick?
This is not even biased, Kentucky, because they can score 100 points,
That's not even biased. Not.
and it's
I
an
can
easy
see
side.
that.
It's the easy side of the bracket, in my opinion.
Am I crazy to say Arizona gets hot?
That's exactly where I was going. Arizona gets hot. Arizona gets hot, or Iowa State is unfazed by the injuries, which for you isn't dark horse, but for me,
correct. That's
is
why.
dark horse.
Yeah, like Arizona State. I mean,
Hey.
it's no exaggeration. Caleb Love sees that blue jersey that is not the right blue, and he just goes off. It's what he does. He ended Coach K's career. So yeah, it's just if that team can get hot and get rolling, I think they can beat anyone in the country. They've been very, very good. And is it wrong not to say, guys, they've done it before as an 8 seed. They can do it again. UConn. I mean, what are we doing here? Right? Like,
They don't quite have Kemba Walker on their team. Liam McNeely is an outstanding player that can. Not Kemba Walker though.
Or facing John Calipari. Anyways, story for another day.
that UConn and Arizona would be the two I could really see because it's a star player. But as you mentioned, I mean, Wisconsin you might need to take seriously because that is about March. If you can get that score, get hot, and just carry your team deep, you just need a few role players to step in and make a few plays. So
That's what they do.
it's going to be one of those players that gets hot, has a big name, can go out and drop 30, not 40, but still drop 30, hit the clutch shots in
Carson
the close
Edwards.
games. That's why I would like Arizona. UConn just because I wouldn't say experience, but they're coaching.
They're coaching.
Yeah, they're coaching. It could be really anybody in that bottom bracket. Would it really surprise you with Arkansas's talent coming into the year?
No.
If they made a deep run?
Or, yes,
I know
yes,
it would kill you, but
It would not.
Kansas, Bill Self, the experience coaching matters in March. That bottom left bracket, it would not surprise me if any of those teams went around. Obviously, I joked about St. John's beating Omaha because I just wanted to bang trash cans, but I don't see St. John's beating Kansas or Arkansas, whoever they match up. So
I will add, I have them out in the first round, but if Maryland's bench gives them anything, they can make a deep run as well.
Yeah, Cal in his first 5 to 10 years, exceptional. So I could see it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, he's now back in that first
Yeah.
5 to 10 years range. So
I can't wait
Wait
for
and
it to
see.
be like Arizona, Gonzaga, UConn, and Michigan State. Like just some oddball weird after all we
Are we in like
That might be the one
2016,
Final Four I don't
2017? Where are we?
You'll still watch.
yeah, I will. All right, now Josh.
aw.
Now that we have successfully filibustered a couple minutes, so Josh will miss the first beginning of the game. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show.
I think Alabama could be a dark horse team.
That's. I mean, I have
That's
them
a
in
good
my
pick.
Elite Eight. That's the only reason I didn't mention them. That's a good point, Garrett. Any last words? I got to make sure everyone's got out what they want to say about March Madness, because it'll all be in the wash next
I'm
week.
gonna say I absolutely love this. It doesn't matter what happens. We saw it already in the first game. It's historic. It's what makes memories. The heartbreak, the passion, the going on the court one last time for your program that you may eat, sleep, breathe, whatever you want to say. I love this time of year, and I cannot wait. It's always sad, but I cannot wait for that one last shining moment. The song and everything. It just
Oh yeah.
Alex,
Kentucky, please make it past the first weekend. Please. Begging you. That's all I got.
Garrett,
Go Grand Canyon.
Purdue. You wouldn't think about like not doing it. No.
I would laugh if they go to the Final Four this year.
They're
because
not going to the Final Four.
Watching your progress show after show as it builds is going to be fantastic. It will be like watching the Pacers last year, where you went from out in the first round to believers they were going to win the NBA championship.
If you want to be really honest, I thought they were a playing team going into last year.
Yeah,
so, no, High Point by 50. Anyways, I think that's all. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you're new. We'll definitely be talking all the March Madness next week, but we also have some Bengals stuff to talk about as well. We really want to avoid talking about that at all costs, but we will have to talk about it next week. So be sure to come back next week. We'll be back on our regular Saturday morning about 10 o'clock for that. So be sure to tune in then, and we'll see you all. Thank you all. Actually, I should say thank you. Thank you all for coming on this late. Josh, for starting lineups are up. We almost got it to the tip-off. Thank you, Garrett, for all your hard work in the director's chair, getting this live stream started and stuff. And Bill Farrow and NK Media Services for letting us use his studio and making this all possible. Come on. You know you want to do the tip-off. No, just kidding. We'll see you all in the next one. Peace. Gotcha by the 10.